So I'm laying out and planning for this is one of my hand forged folding knives. I don't buff everything out perfect because I wanted people to be able to see that this was hand formed, hand hammered. So anyhow, this was my birthday shoot prize that Sara Ortega won. I host a birthday black powder shoot every year, and this was the prize this year, so I've got to get this done. I'm way behind. So yeah, so what I do is I figure out where my swing and stop's going to be, and then I've got to I'm going to cut this out, and I'll trace this again, so I'll be able to make the scales for either side, and then I'll cut out the spacer here with the little dots are is where I will brass pin it together. And then I don't know if I will put a lanyard ring on this or not, but I'll definitely put a lanyard hole. So yeah, it's basically, you know, a little folding. Hey, move your fingers, Parley. What are you doing, you weirdo?
Nothing.
Will you sweep in my shop? You like sweeping? Right on. So yeah, these knives have been very popular. I can't keep them in stock when I get around to making them. People really liked them for dressing on animals, having a little thing in their pouch when we're at, camps. Obviously it's not a spring locking type folding knife. It's more of a straight razor type deal. It's a bit of a karambit shape when it's done. It looks like that when it's open. But it's all primitive work. I do the steel primitively. I do a special process with pre-Bessemer process on the steel instead of using post-Bessemer process steel to create a sharpenable steel. And then I will hand shape and hand pin the scales on this one. I think I'm going to break into there's Polly's hand. Polly's dad. Let me finish, you weirdo. We'll probably do black walnut on this. It just looks really nice, and I do have some scales already ripped down out of an old chunk of black walnut I got from my grandfather in Ohio. So anyway, we'll keep rolling on this. See if I can get this done today and not hurt myself like I have been lately in the shop. So I got my black walnut for the sides, and then down here I marked out for the spacer that goes between the sides during the assembly. So I made the scale template, and then I have the core marks where the pins go, and then the spacer with its pins and holes where that stuff marks. So anyway, there's Polly's hand in the way again. Anyway, I know that there's other ways to make knives. This is how I make mine. Part of the thing for these with me is that the design's my own. The process of learning how to make them was very organic for me. I just decided I wanted to, and then I created the craft, so to speak. I think that's one of the things I like about the things I make, is that I don't necessarily want to, no matter how great the ideas are that other people had, I don't necessarily want to recreate those. I want to struggle through the discovery like my ancestors struggle through discoveries about things like deciding I want to do something, figuring out how to do it, and then I start researching. Once I've accomplished something, then I like to look into how might it actually have been done, or how might be a better way to do it now that I've figured out how to do it even on my own. So these knives are really primitive, organic art form, but an effective tool, and that was the goal. They make a good little hoof knife, and make a good person. Does a lot of rigging and tent work. There's one of the key features to it you'll see in the complete knife is a sheeting awl for taking knots apart, and there's just little things cleaning out the frogs of the horse's hooves, opening a can of paint, or there's different things that it can do that aren't necessarily on the table always for everything else. So anyway, it's just part of the, as uninteresting as that may be, same thing applies to the copper work and things like that. I was talking to my friend about that yesterday. One of my best friends, is that part of what to me is in the art is not necessarily just the end product, but all the philosophy that went in behind it, and the aesthetic decisions, the learning choices. Those things affect what the art is too. I mean, there's intangibles to things that aren't always in the just the raw superficial aesthetic of the completed product. So I've got the black walnut roughed out, and I've got the crucial holes in. So what happens is that this piece, and it's obviously not everything's perfect yet. This piece goes there, and then the blade mounts. If I can get this the first time without screwing up, the blade mounts like that. See, and so then the other scale goes like that. So when a knife's open, it's like that. And when a knife's closed, it swings in, and once everything's all in place, it closes up inside like that. So it leaves this little guy out. So the next thing I can talk about, I favor a one-handed opening design knife, and so it was when I decided to make my own type of primitive knife, folding knife. I wanted it to have the ability to open one-handed, and these do. They will open one-handed, which is pretty neat. And then just the way you use them, the pressure is what keeps them open. The opening lever also becomes very handy for, like I said, cleaning the frogs of horses, prying stuff, opening up knots on your lines on your tents and whatnot. So it's good for opening bottles of beer too. So that's not a start mounting and tuning and get the spacer holes in, and the spacer put in place, and then that way this kind of spins and creates a karambit knife. Very good for skinning, very good for a lot of work stuff. So I hope Sara Ortega likes it. So I have to finish pegging and pinning and sanding and whatnot, and then this will tune in for its tightness. But so that's closed, and then one-handed opening there. You now have your knife out. So that's that. A little bit more to go. We're getting there. So I still have a little bit of the woodwork to do, but I got the brass pinning done, and get a little fine tuning here and there, but it's needs a little lubrication, which is normal. Let it work into its process. Do a nice oil finish on it and round off, and it's coming along now. So I've got it all oiled up, and so yeah, this is how I make a primitive folding knife. My brass pins, my black walnut wood, one-handed opening, and hand forged and hand shaped primitive forge, pre-Bessemer steel processes involved. So you got this taking knots apart, cleaning frogs, prying open cans and bottles. It's the opening lever. But I still have the first one of these I ever made. I kept it for myself. The second one I gave my grandfather. They've started to make some of the rounds around my house. People in my family get them from time to time. And this one was won at my birthday shoot there at the end of 2013 by Sara Ortega for getting the first kill shot on our target. So, and that was she hit about a half a golf ball size vital area at 75 yards with a 50 caliber muzzle loader, standing, offhand. So it was a good shot. I'd hit the target, but not lethally, and so she managed to get it done. That's a nice little knot, little piece in there. I was really happy to get, and the piece of wood that I got. So she'll be getting that next time I see her. So pretty neat.